Hello, this is going to be a really quick tutorial on how to assemble a Diane GuHong Pro. These new Pros use this type of retention mechanism, this type of tensioning, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put it all back together using one of these new ones. So to start off, we're just going to go ahead and remove all the caps. Now this tutorial is going to go through the scenario where the cube has completely fallen apart and the hardware is not staying on the puzzle. And the reason for that is as soon as we take out an edge from the puzzle, or actually a layer from the puzzle, what ends up happening is that there's no more tension being put from below the tensioning mechanism, allowing it to drop. And when it drops, it can go into the release position, like this new tensioner. It'll go into a release position, and then you won't be able to put it in. So when you're doing this one at a time, what ends up happening is you are messing around with the puzzle and things keep going away from the release mechanism. So here I've removed the entire layer. You can easily see that falls out underneath like that, along with this retention mechanism, which can turn in place. And once it's kind of turned in place, it could go into release and it just pops out as easy as that. So we can go ahead and take apart the rest of the cube in a similar fashion. And we just want to make sure that we have all the pieces here. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of these pieces around to the side. And we're going to be focusing up on the core and these tensioners. So you can see how easily this falls apart when there's no tension underneath the piece. It kind of just falls off. This is kind of similar to how GAN tensioning works. So what we want to do is do this incrementally, and we're going to work with 2 centers at a time to make sure that we have tensions throughout the entire assembly process and make sure that it doesn't fall apart that easily. So here it is. So we want to make sure we have our 6 centers right here. So here I have 6. We have 6 springs or maglev. Put those aside. This is the spring version. The maglev is exactly the same thing. And 6 retention pieces right there. And of course our core. We're going to start off by taking one of our center pieces. We're going to put it all the way down. We're going to take our spring with the dial side up and thread it right through there. And we're going to take one of our retention pieces. Now here, if we look really, really carefully on the centers, you can see that there's 2 little cutouts on the piece right here. There's one here and there's one here. What we want to do is we're going to try to line that up with the little arrows right here on the side. So here we have, you can see the 2 arrows that are showing you that the tension is counterclockwise, and then we have 2 smaller arrows on the left and right sides that show where they're going to line up with the little cutouts on the orange core piece. So we're going to go ahead and press that in, and what you can do here is press that in. We're going to turn it like this. So now that it's in place, it can still come out really easily because it's not locked in yet. We're going to go ahead and twist that slightly until it stops twisting. That top piece, we're just going to turn it so it goes into its locked position, and we're going to add tension to the puzzle by pulling it straight up like this. So now it is locked into place. We're going to repeat that for one more of these centers, the ones that are next to it, not opposite from it. And what we will do here is the exact same process. Center, we put down our spring or maglev, our retention piece. We're going to go ahead and make sure that that goes through the slot. And like that. And we're going to twist it counterclockwise until it is no longer moving. And we don't want to force it, obviously. And we're going to pull straight up. So that is locked in. Next, we're going to go ahead and take an edge. We're going to put it in between the centers that we just put in. And that'll give us enough tension so these do not drop down. And then that will prevent it from coming off during the rest of your assembly process. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat it for this new center right here. Again, we're going to go ahead and do a center piece, the spring or maglev, and then our retention piece on top. Make sure that it threads all the way down like that. And we're going to turn that just slightly counterclockwise like that, and that should lock it into place. We're gonna go ahead and take another one of our edges, put that underneath like that, and then that's how you would put it in. From here, I'm gonna go ahead and put in a corner and then another edge to kind of make this block right here. You can put it together assembled or solved rather. I'm just gonna put it in randomly and then fix it at the end because it's easier that way when you're not really concerned about what colors is what. So we're gonna go ahead and repeat that process. Again, starting off with a center, a spring, the retention piece goes over, threads all the way through like that. We're gonna turn it slightly counterclockwise, pull straight up to make sure that that's all locked into place. Put in an edge to lock, make sure that it doesn't drop down again, like that. We're gonna put in our corner and our edge to add more stability, and that also adds tensions to here, here, and here. So now it's kind of locked in for good. Once again, center, spring, retention piece, and turn slightly to put it in the lock position. And you can see that's locked in. I'm trying to pull it out. That's locked in. We're gonna add tension back into that piece. And it's really important that we lock these pieces in because if you don't lock them in, they're just gonna keep falling out. Put that in. Two corners in this case, two more edges like that. And you can see that that's locked in. We're gonna work on our last one. Center, spring, our retention piece. And we're just gonna thread that in like that. We're gonna turn it slightly. We're gonna pull up to make sure it's locked in. And then we're gonna add an edge underneath that one. And then that should give it enough tension that we could just assemble the cube normally from here. So the important thing here is that we use those retentions properly, because if you just put the cap on top, it's still gonna fall off. It's not locked into the puzzle properly yet. So we wanna make sure that we turn that, make sure that it's set on the locked position to make sure that it doesn't fall off the puzzle. So here I have it now completely assembled. I'm just gonna make sure that it is solvable. So here, okay. So I have one edge flip here. I'm just gonna go ahead and not take apart the entire cube. We're just gonna do one piece. One edge piece. If you could just come out, that would be great. Like this. Put that back in. Okay. So now it is somewhat solved. I'm going to go ahead and fix up the actual tensioning mechanisms, which in this case only turns counterclockwise. Make sure that that's all clicked to the right settings. In this case, I do want to set it to flush, so that looks like 2, 3, 4, and 5. I just want to set everything back to 1. Nope, still going. Okay, make sure the onset also. Okay, that one's good. This one is not good. It's off by 1. And it's all evenly tensioned now. We're going to go ahead and replace the caps. So once again, the important thing here is making sure that the pieces are locked in properly using that little tiny retention piece on the tensioning mechanism. And that's how you would completely reassemble a GuHong Pro. Hope that helps.